Hello and good morning. I welcome you to the morning meeting today on Friday, the 12th of January 2018. This is Jens Klatt speaking, exclusively presenting this format to you here for JFD Brokers. As their global head of research and education, we want to have a look at the market opening and how things are going. The DAX looks very unattractive, even though makes a strong impression based on the fact that the euro pushed to new, well, we can call them multi-year highs, I think. Because the euro pushed towards the highest highs since 2014, December 2014, yes, okay. But that's mainly due to the fact that here the, let's call it political vacuum, is finally about to come to an end here. So the Christian Democratic Party, they call them CDU, and the Social Democrats are about to form, I think it's called Grand Coalition. So they are the biggest two parties in Germany. In fact, that's the only possible solution to have a majority here. The other, the so-called Jamaica Coalition, that was between the Christian Democrats, the Liberals and the Green Party. They didn't find a consensus here several months ago. That was one of the reasons why Germany in fact had no real government over some months. And so with the news yesterday in the ECB minutes that the ECB is probably discussing, even though behind closed doors, but actively discussing an end of the ultra-loose monetary policy. Let's hear the excerpt from the minutes, which says the language pertaining to various dimensions of the monetary policy stance and forward guidance could be revisited early in the coming year. This is in fact very interesting, since it suggests that there is a more restrictive approach to be expected here, and that pushed the euro already above 120 yesterday. And with the news around the political situation becoming more clear in Germany, now the euro pushed towards 121, and in fact that's considered, first of all, it should be considered a clear bearish break, even though I'm very skeptical about those breaks if they are based on political announcement, political news, since we all know that usually political legs have, or political announcements here have short legs in the markets. And so it's definitely necessary that the euro can close above 121 today. It's likely because, and that's something, oh, by the way, well, it's not quite right to say we do not have any big news coming today. In fact, there is some interesting numbers coming out today. It's the inflation data from the US. It's at 1:30 p.m. GMT here, and with the reading above expectation, the numbers are expected to come in at 2.1%. There's a chance that the US dollar probably can make back some of the losses in the morning, but yeah, so far it's nevertheless likely that the euro can close above that level, which would be a first positive sign, even though again usually such breaks should be seen very skeptical, and if they're not capable, if the euro is not capable of really closing above that level and taking on further momentum, it could be a fake out here, with the potential then of a bearish divergence forming here on a daily chart. And with such a divergence, a sharper decline is possible, and things would become a little more bearish, as no, not bearish, but short-term bearish, yes, but euro would push towards its neutral stance here back again if we push below 119 then. So right now it doesn't look like that. Nevertheless, again, the initial reaction was brought on the way thanks to this political news here, and this is usually not a very strong driver. Nevertheless, and now it's getting interesting, even though intraday the DAX looks not very strong, not very spectacular, I consider it to be strong to see the euro pushing that aggressively higher. By the way, the weakening US dollar is pushing the dollar, the Dow Jones here higher in the a pre-market phase, and Dow Jones is obviously about to open with a new all-time high here, significantly above 25,500 points. Is about to probably head directly straight through 26,000 points. So weaker US dollar is obviously capable of pushing the Dow Jones higher, while the DAX lags behind based on the strong euro, even though, and this is something I'd like to emphasize here, even though the strong euro right now is weighing on the DAX intraday, but it's not pushing the DAX back towards the lows from yesterday, around 13,150 points. So we are far away from calling a bull market here or something like that, or a very strong bullish close. Nevertheless, we should be aware of the fact that it looks somehow some kind of strong what the DAX delivers here. And so if we are capable of pushing towards the intraday highs, probably above them, and that could be brought on the way once the CPI numbers at 1:30 p.m. GMT, so in around 1.5 hour. It's, yeah, like a little more than that. It's in fact nearly 3 hours from now. But if this is brought on the way here, I think then this could result in the DAX pushing up towards 13,300 points. Again, nevertheless, that's a very, very aggressive and purely speculative outlook, since the overall picture is still very bearish. After the market making new lows yesterday here with a push below 13,200 points, then driven by this announcement from the ECB. So the initial reaction was brought on the way based on the excerpt here, which I already presented to show what was the main driver for the euro here. And let's just see how things develop. So far, it looks very choppy and unspectacular, even though I smell some strength. Nevertheless, therefore, intraday, we have to make new intraday highs, and to at least take the control back from the bears, we need to make it above 13,300 points. And therefore, well, the next hours are interesting, especially the developments in the euro seem to be very interesting. Here, if the euro can't stabilize above 121, such a move on the upside becomes likely, becomes possible, even though it's a long way to go here for the DAX. Let's have a look at dollar Japanese yen. So the dollar, all in all, still very, very weak. It's not just against the euro, so it's not only euro strength here, but it's also US dollar weakness. And the dollar Japanese yen obviously pushes towards 110.80, 111, the lows of November here. I consider this region to be crucial. If we fall below that level, I think it's likely that dollar Japanese yen can keep on pushing lower towards 107.50, 108 here probably. In fact, that's it. So nothing more to add here. Let's see if such a break will happen or not. I personally, I'm kind of the opinion that there's probably a good chance that there will be a push towards this level, but it's probably likely that the market will, after the strong run the last days here, will probably slightly push below that level, retrace, probably retest the region over 112, and then take another push lower, another leg lower from there. So that's something I have in mind right now, even though it doesn't make sense to really look that far away into the future here. Let's just wait and see if such a break happens or not. The overall picture in dollar Japanese yen is definitely short-term bearish. That's definitely something which is definitely true. And let's just see whether such a strong break will happen, or such a fake out will happen with a pullback and then a potential another attack here lower, probably going hand in hand with US equity markets finally seeing a corrective move, whatever. When talking about dollar yen, we should also talk about gold. While yields are stabilizing at a quite elevated level here, above 2.5% for 10-year treasury notes, it's definitely worth noting that the gold price here is obviously very, very strong and pushing towards new highs. So it really looks as if gold has a very good chance then to push higher towards 1,360, probably above that level, 1,400 USD per ounce. One sec, by the way. Okay. So I consider gold still be really strong. It really seems as if there is not the favorite scenario, which I made a topic here several times, the push below 1,300 USD playing out, but instead market is really just pushing higher from here. And so far it looks as if we're just pushing higher and even higher from here towards 1,360 USD. Let's just see how the CPI numbers come out. So if the CPI numbers surprise on the upside, which would result in the US dollar to probably strengthen a little, that could probably see a final push higher in gold and then some pullback here. Or yeah, probably not even this push higher, but a pullback from there, so that we can stabilize at a high level here. If the numbers disappoint, come in below expectation, so something like 2%, probably below 2%, that's definitely something which should usually drive gold higher, significantly higher, up towards 1,360. Probably within the next days then. Some might be surprised of my strong bullishness right now, but with this move higher here, gold gives a very good reason to be strongly bullish here and to expect higher prices even after the strong run which took place over the last weeks and the last month here. WTI, crude oil. Crude oil is very interesting, in fact. So yesterday's price action was something which is noteworthy. So have a look here what just happened. So we squeezed higher yesterday, so towards 64.50 around, and then retraced from there, closed $1 below the daily highs, and currently stabilizing at an elevated level. But if you now go down to the 1 hour chart, the dominated time frame here, the dominated time frame of the daily chart, you can see that the market is about to form a toppish picture here. And what I consider to be really interesting, and remember, the sentiment extreme is still there. I consider such a formation here to be really interesting, especially if we know push below 63 to 63. Yeah, 63. Let's make it a round number. So if we push below 63, I think chances are high that we push at least another dollar lower, if not more than that, and probably see finally the corrective move down towards here, the region around 58, 80, 59. So from a risk reward perspective, I consider this to be a really attractive setup, in fact. And the key region right now seems to be 63. So if we go below 63, chances are high that probably crude oil would see a more more aggressive push lower, and the sentiment extreme here could then put more pressure on crude oil here, and finally push us below 60 again, even though the overall bullish picture does not change through such a corrective move. So in fact, if we really push that lower, this region around 59, I consider it to be a really attractive region for long engagements here, and definitely worth a look here. And so in fact, that's it from my end. Yes, I wish you happy trading. Watch your stops, and have a nice weekend too. Enjoy yourself, take care, and talk to you again then on Monday at I think 8:20 with the DAX long or short here. And then with the morning meeting around 10:30, not around, but it will be 10:30 a.m. GMT. I definitely look forward to it. So have a nice day, have a nice weekend. If you have any questions, please shoot over an email, and talk to you then. I look forward to it. See you, and bye-bye.